get started. So what I have is all my chocolate weighed out. So for those of us, those of you joining the class, and you've got your milk chocolate, white chocolate, and dark chocolate ready, weigh it out together with me. So at first, we're going to be making the Milo chocolate. So I've got my cream here, 75 grams of cream. Over here, I'm going to put it right over the stove. And then I've also got my chocolate ready. And this one here is for my Milo. Correct. So we've got the milk chocolate. So we've got 75 grams of the cream, 150 grams of milk chocolate, and 5 grams of Milo powder. So for those who are joining us again, weigh out those recipes and I'll wait for you. So we've got the chocolate ready. Now, the best thing about this recipe is that you don't have to heat up the chocolate. It's super easy. Take what you have at home. Take the equipment you have at home as well. If you don't have a spatula, use a spoon. If you don't have a whisk, just maybe even use a fork. I mean, again, this is about, you know, really enjoying cooking as well. And taking inspiration from our childhood favorites. So what we have here is the milk chocolate set at room temperature. Now a trick for you, and take note of this, is that for milk chocolate, we use a 1 to 2 recipe. Meaning, if you have 100 grams of milk chocolate, which is at 40% cocoa, or 38%, and then you can also just take half of the recipe of cream, which is 50 grams of cream. So it's like 100 grams of chocolate to 50 grams of cream. That's for milk chocolate. Dark chocolate is a 1.5 ratio. It means 100 grams of dark chocolate, you take 75 grams of cream. And then for white chocolate is the other way around, which is 300 grams of white chocolate to 100 grams of cream. So I'll put that all again on IG, and then we'll have that very clear for you as well. So I'm going to start with my Milo powder. Really never use it in our shops, but again, you know, it's so fun to actually just take inspiration from what's in your pantry. So I'm going to just heat up very quickly the cream. Now this just takes 1 minute. So you don't really need to infuse the Milo really long. So you just take the cream and then you heat it up. So I'm just going to bring that to a boil. Get my Milo powder ready. You can see that here. Now I'm just going to put that in together.
Someone's asking how much cream you're using, and also
so I'm using,
what temperature should it be at?
What temperature should the cream be at? So we will boil the cream to about 96 degrees. When you see bubbles, that's more than enough. Get your room temperature chocolate ready. So you don't want to heat the chocolate because you don't want that to split. So now it's bubbling. I'm going to take my whisk and just really carefully just quickly whisk it up.
So is it 75 grams of cream, or how much cream do you use?
Yes, there's 75 grams of cream there.
Okay.
So now the cream is all boiled. I've got the chocolate ready. You just want all that Milo powder to be all melted well inside. Now we're just going to pour it over. So we've got another camera overhead. I will show you that. Just very simply, I get my spatula ready. I'm just going to pour that. So for those who can see that, okay.
Could you remind everybody how much chocolate and Milo powder again?
So we have 5 grams of Milo powder. And then we have 150 grams of chocolate, milk chocolate, and 75 grams of cream.
Okay.
So that's a 2 to 1 ratio for a milk chocolate. So you can see I'm just leaving it there. So the cream is so hot. The cream is 96 degrees. At room temperature chocolate, it's about 24, 25 degrees. You don't want to shock the chocolate. So you don't want the chocolate to be too cold. So you don't want to have take your chocolate out of the fridge and have your cream at 96 degrees. And then that will be too cold for the Nama chocolate. So for Nama chocolate, it originated basically in Switzerland in 1930s, and it's a beautiful chocolate. It was made famous by the Japanese, and that's in Hokkaido, where there's Roy's chocolate. Yes, they've made it really famous. And so, well, Nama chocolate is one of the easiest things to do. And why I'm showcasing this today is because I know all of you are staying at home, being good, spending time with family and friends. And I think the best thing to do is get stuff that you haven't used in ages out of your pantry. If you have curry powder, chili powder, tandoori, if you have bags of tea bags of like chamomile tea that you've never used in a long time, start infusing, start making chocolates, and this can last for a long time. So you can last for about 2 months in the fridge, up to 3 months, or you can even freeze it, and when you want to eat it, take it out and enjoy it. Now I'll show you what you need. So I'm just going to quickly just stir it, and you can see that it's going to basically become very nice and creamy. So you don't want to split it. Later, what we're going to do is we're going to be very sneaky. We're actually going to be splitting the ganache so that we can show you how to fix that. And all you need is a hand blender. If you don't have that, again, don't worry. I'm going to show you how to fix that. So one of the other things is that if your environment is very cold and your ganache is not melting well, then what you can do is to put it on top of a hot pot of water. And I'm going to show that to you as well. So we're going to troubleshoot a lot today because, as you know, at home you might have a different environment, and there's going to be a lot of challenges maybe that you might face and you don't know what to do. So it's all about temperature and technique. And so there we go. Now it's nice and smooth. Okay.
Someone is asking how many pieces of chocolate this will make.
So it makes about 20 pieces of chocolate in a tub. Well, it depends on how much you cut it as well. Okay. So I've got just a few little pieces here that I cannot melt it down. So again, like I said, today we're actually purposely doing things so that we can troubleshoot and we can show you how to do it. So I've got ready a pot of water just to show you how we basically melt it down. And you don't want to have it too hot because the fats from the chocolate and the cream will split, and then you get all these oils on top. And then they form this white specks on top of your nama ganache. And again, that's when you have white specks after it's refrigerated, you know that your ganache is split. So a lot of people ask also, can it be reversed? If I messed up my ganache, if I forgot to add a pinch of salt, can I reverse it? Totally. You can actually take the set ganache right here. For example, you can take this and then you melt it down again, and then just make sure you don't melt it down too much. And then you reset it. You just reapply all the things that you forgot to add in, and then just put it in again. So I'm just going to put that over. And I'm going to just heat it up a little bit.
Okay, we have a question here. If they don't have these small chocolate discs, is there other types of chocolate that they can use?
Totally. So today, I mean, what I use today is a 40% Jibara Valrhona chocolate. So that's what I use. I love that milky texture and flavor in that as well. But they can totally use different chocolate. Now let's talk about chocolate. Okay. So again, couverture chocolate, it's when you have cocoa butter and cocoa liquor, and you have other items inside. For example, the sugar in chocolate, there's vanilla in chocolate as well for flavor, cocoa mass, cocoa powder, and cocoa liqueur. So what do you actually have in the baking chocolate? A lot of people ask, can I use baking chocolate to make nama chocolate? Well, just to take note that baking chocolate, white or dark, contains hydrogenated fats, and it has a higher melting point. You can definitely use it, but it's not the smoothest and cleanest texture. I mean, you really want to use chocolate that has cocoa butter behind the labels, and so check your labels. I totally advise to use really nice chocolate couverture. So questions as always is, can I just use milk baking chocolate? Totally you can. Just to take note that it just contains, instead of cocoa butter, which is the fat from chocolate, to hydrogenated fats. Okay. So my ganache is almost ready, and I'm gonna set it in these containers. So what I chose today was not some fancy trays. I chose containers that you have at home. You can use any type of container. Just make sure you line them. What you want is just take a little piece of paper and just put it below. Super easy. Or if you don't have baking paper, you can spray a little bit of water into the container and take cling wrap. You see this nice texture here. I've also prepared another video. So after the class, you can really see the texture of all the Nama chocolate on that video. Okay. Now I'm just gonna set it aside and leave it. Now you can see I don't want to split it, so it's really nice and creamy. I'll show you the texture. Really nice and smooth. There we go. It's not too liquid. You want it nice and viscous. So for Horlicks powder, get ready 25 grams of Horlicks powder, 150 grams of milk chocolate, and 100 grams of cream.
So someone who's cooking along said that their chocolate ended up really liquid and slightly grainy. So is there a reason for that, you think?
If you have something like this, do you see that on the camera? All right, but for the person who's asking this question, we purposely split this ganache. Now there's a couple of reasons. One, your chocolate, you melted your chocolate beforehand and that's hot. And then the cream is also at about 96 degrees and that's hot. Or you basically stirred it in too fast. So remember when I was talking, I was leaving the cream, the hot cream to kind of melt over the chocolate. And I'm just gonna let all the heat melt the chocolate. So I didn't want to stir it because when you're stirring it, again, you have a lot of resistance. So now we want to show you a split ganache. Now you can see the oils. Can you see the oil here, right here? Now that's oil from either, essential oils from the tea or the coffee or from the chocolate even. And you can see it's grainy, it's split, it looks terrible. How do I fix this, right? I mean, it's crazy. So one of the things I always like to experiment is the different types of things I use inside this. And today we're also going to be experimenting with cocoa butter. Okay, so now I'm going to show you that grainy, ugly texture. Okay, it's still delicious. It's just texture. But texture makes up a big chunk of what makes things delicious. Smell and texture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some cream. I'm going to troubleshoot and fix this right now for you to see. So I've got cream. I just take any cold cream from the fridge. You don't want to use hot cream. So you want to use something cold to fix this. I'm just going to add a little bit of milk inside here. So you can take milk or cream and you just add that. Now I just get another camera in here to show you that. All right.
I think we have a couple of questions about cream as well. So could you explain, is it milk or cream? Does it matter? Also, can you use heavy cream? What's the difference? Or whipping cream? So I think people are quite confused about all the different terms.
Sure, I'm definitely going to talk about milk and cream later as well. But can you see very closely what I'm doing to the ganache? Can you see that it's coming together and emulsifying? Because milk basically has a less fat content and you want that fat to emulsify back. So there we go. The best thing to do is to use a hand blender and do it slowly. So for those who are watching on Zoom, you can see that my chocolate is being emulsified back again together just by adding a little bit of milk. All right.
And we'll just like slowly keep adding more and more milk in until it gets to the consistency that you want?
Nope, you don't want to do that. You just want to add a little bit. Well, the more milk and cream you add, it affects the texture of the final product. Mm-hmm. You don't want something so slimy and soft as well. You want it really nice and hard and it kind of just melts in your mouth. So again, be very careful. Also, we're all about shelf life. The more water or milk or cream you add, it affects the shelf life of chocolate. And we want to keep that shelf life to a good 2 months in the fridge, up to 3 months. So
that's so much smoother than when you first showed it.
Yeah, it's really coming together nicely. So the person who has a split ganache right now, try this trick. If you still can't fix that, I'll come and help you. So today, post all your chocolate truffles. We'll pick a few winners and we'll send something special right to your doorstep.
Yeah, be sure to tag us. So again, on Instagram, it's at Janice Wong 2 a.m. and then timeout SG. So
there we go.
Tag us with your chocolates.
It's coming together beautifully. All right, I'm gonna leave that as is. And as long as you know how to fix your ganache, it's not a problem. And keep it straight into the fridge as well. Okay, so I'm gonna move straight to Horlicks. So we've got a good 25 grams here and cream. We've got 75 ml of cream. I'm just gonna put my Horlicks into the cream. Now it comes in this package because quite a number of you ordered the DIY chocolate truffle kit to be cooking with me today. So that's really, really nice of you. Well, and we pre-packed and weighed out all of these ingredients for you so that you can also cook together with me today. So here we go. Just gonna add in the Horlicks into that. You see that? It's just beautiful, all of it. That's quite a lot of Horlicks.
Horlicks in so long, it's making me want to get Horlicks now.
I love anything Horlicks. It's just awesome. That was one of the first creations we did for 2 a.m. dessert bar as well in a dessert. Horlicks, the malt flavor goes so well with popcorn. Okay, so I've got that going, and then I'm just gonna get a whisk again.
So the person with the spot ganache says that he managed to fix it, so that's great.
Oh, that's really awesome. Good on you. Okay, so again, it just takes 1 minute. Watch your cream really, really well. Now it boils really fast. I've got my milk chocolate ready. 150 grams of milk chocolate. Can you see how fast that Horlicks just boils? For those watching on IG, it just boils so fast in 1 minute. Quickly pour it over again. Same thing, you don't want to touch that. Now we just want that to just really sit for at least a few minutes, or even just minimum 1 minute. Just let it sit, and then it will just melt the surface of the chocolate. I get my spatula or spoon ready, and I'm just gonna do it in one direction. So I'm just gonna quickly move that. You see, one direction, 1 minute. So technically, you're making 5 types of chocolate today in 45 minutes.
A couple of quick questions here. So someone's asking for the first ganache, do you put it in the fridge or do you just put it to the side?
So for the first ganache, I put it to the side first because I want to set everything together, all 5 together in my container, and put it all in the fridge together at the same time.
Okay. And are you in an air-conditioned room, or what's your temperature like for you at the moment?
So yep, I'm in an air-conditioned room.
Does it matter? Like, can they be cooking in a
kitchen?
kitchen?
First, it's more comfortable to be in an air-conditioned room, but definitely it does affect the temperature of chocolate. If you don't have air conditioning in your kitchen, that's not a problem as well. I mean, my mom's kitchen doesn't have air conditioning as well, but you just really need to feel the temperature in your skin, you know, and know how to work very quickly with chocolate. If it's too hot in your kitchen, I would advise you set it in your container right away, and then put it into the fridge.
Okay.
Now in our chocolate bonbons, which is right here, so you can see now these chocolate bonbons that we have at 2 a.m. and also in our shops, these chocolate bonbons contain a lot more liquid. It's a softer texture when you bite into it. It just really kind of like have this nice creamy effect. So that's a bit different. The recipes there are a bit different. The ratio is a bit different. Now when you have these chocolate here like that, they just sit out here nicely. They have a little bit less cream in them. Okay, so that's Horlicks for you. And I'm gonna just leave it again at the side and then just wait and pour it all in together. It's not gonna set in this temperature. You need a refrigerated temperature for it to set. It's really easy
for the
as well.
Horlicks chocolate, if you wanted to use white chocolate instead, is that also acceptable, or do I have to change the ratios?
Yes. So you can use white chocolate for the Horlicks chocolate. And when you use white chocolate, you basically, let's say if you have about 100 grams of white chocolate or 90 grams of white chocolate, use 30 grams of cream. So it's a 3-to-1 ratio when you do Horlicks truffles with white chocolate. Okay, so what we have here is our coffee. So for this coffee, because I don't want to sieve it or I don't want to actually hand blend it, I use a freeze-dried coffee, which is just from Nescafe. But if you want to use really nice coffee, it's also possible, and just get ready your sieve as well. So, but in this case, because I want less equipment, I just want it really fuss-free, I use what's in most people's pantry, which is the normal instant coffee. So we use that to show you today. It's a little bit on the bitter side, so just be really careful not to add too much of that. So I've got my coffee powder weighed out, and you want to weigh that with me now. So you want to weigh out 8 grams of coffee powder, or about 2 tablespoons of coffee powder, to 150 grams of dark chocolate. Okay. Now in this case, I use 70% dark chocolate. You can use about 65%. You can use different percentage of dark chocolate as well. But I choose something that is not too dark and also not too light as well. So I use about 70% Verona dark chocolate. Now, and I take about 75 grams of cream. Now you can actually basically have the cream a little bit more in this case. If you want to put 80 grams of cream, it's not a problem. But I basically want a texture that's a little bit more firm. And so I use 75 grams of cream to this. Okay, can I bring it to a boil?
We have one question here where, can I add my brewed coffee to my cream? Will the flavor of my beans carry through to the Nama chocolate?
Oh, definitely. I think flavor, ingredients are everything. Basically, in this class today, we're actually really using what's readily available in your pantry. But if you have freshly grounded coffee, I'm a coffee lover and I love to grind my coffee all the time. And I think it's very important. If you get that freshly grounded coffee, take that immediately, put it into the cream, and that's actually going to be super, super nice smelling and aromatic as well. So definitely the ingredients do count. But in this case, we use something that is available. So we use instant coffee. I'm just going to put it right into the pot so you can actually see that. Okay, so for those who are seeing on Zoom, we're just going to add that in. Same thing as what we did with the others. So we've got that, and I'm just going to bring it to a boil again. Get my room temperature chocolate ready and just sitting out. You can use a plastic bowl or a metal bowl as well, or a ceramic bowl. So great. I mean, the whole room smells of coffee, tea, Horlicks, Milo. It's just amazing. So the color of that is also really, really beautiful. It's got a nice rich color. So if you want to use white chocolate, it's not a problem as well. Just change your ratio.
So for the ratios, if it's milk chocolate or dark chocolate, it's 2-to-1. But if it's white chocolate, then it's 3-to-1.
It's 3-to-1 for white chocolate. That's correct. So if you're going to do a coffee white chocolate, Nama chocolate, remember to leave some of that coffee powder available for you to dust over as well. So again, I'm just going to pour it over my dark chocolate. It's so beautiful. Look at that. I'm going to just get every single drop of it into my pot.
We have a couple of questions. So someone wants to know if they can add sugar, salt, or acid to adjust the taste of the chocolate.
That's great. That's a fantastic question. So I'm actually going to talk about adding things into this right now. What can be really special is I have a pot of Malden salt, and I'm just going to add a little pinch of salt right now. So I've got a bucket of it. We have a factory, so there's a big, we use quite a lot of things here.
I wish I had it at home. I'm always putting flaky salt in.
a little bit of salt just into there. That's it. Pinch of sea salt. I'm gonna again wait, make sure the cream coats all over my chocolate, and then I'm gonna just let it basically melt the chocolate again. So what we have here is this nice coffee, dark chocolate, sea salt flavor into it. I have a salted caramel recipe that's actually on IG as well. And you can take that salted caramel recipe. What you can do is add a little bit of salted caramel into one of these ganaches as well. Just a little bit. I mean, don't add too much of that. And again, it brings out this really nice, good flavor into that. Okay, so I'm just gonna whisk that.
How about acid though? Will it cause the cream to split?
Yes and no. It depends on when you add it and how you add it, as well as your temperature. As you know, acid and cream, it kind of curdles really fast. So you want to go really fast on that. What you would do is, if I'm making a yuzu ganache or citrus lemon ganache, what I'm going to do is I'm going to boil my cream, bring that to a boil. I'm going to pour it into the chocolate, this exact same technique. And then at the end, then I'll add my acid in there. You can do it both ways. If you add the acid together with the hot cream, just go really fast directly into the chocolate and mix it all together. You don't want it to curdle or split first before you do that. So, okay, so I've got my really nice ganache here, and then I'm just going to set it aside. So maybe we can take a couple more questions as well.
Okay. Someone's asking if there's a way to get the bubbles out of the mixture. So how do you get it nice and net? Yeah.
Sure. So again, for the bubbles out of the mixture, if you have a vacuum machine, great. If you don't have a vacuum machine, what you do is you take those paper towels. You take a paper towel, you go over it, and you just lift it up. That's a neat trick you can do for your ganache as well. Or just put a cling wrap over it and let it set. A little surprise for you and a little special recipe as well. So we've got 300 grams of white chocolate. You don't need to make this now. So it's 300 grams of white chocolate, 100 ml of cream, and 15 grams of green tea powder. So that's what you want to do for green tea nama chocolate. I think so many people ask why we didn't do green tea nama chocolate, but that's actually one of the favorites in Singapore. I think a lot of Singaporeans love green tea, and so we're giving out that recipe today, and you can try it at home. And a lot of people ask also about condensed milk, sugar. A lot of recipes have condensed milk, butter, cocoa butter. What are the ratios when you add all that in? So if you add cocoa butter into a white chocolate ganache, you add 10% of cocoa butter. So cocoa butter kind of looks like this. I'm just going to show it very quickly on screen here. Kind of looks like that, if you can see it. Yeah, it looks like that. Little pellets of cocoa butter. So it melts at 37 degrees, and you just really want to make sure that you don't put it too high a temperature. It melts quite quickly. So the cocoa butter allows the chocolate to have a light, slightly firmer texture, and I'm going to show you this texture as well later. And if you add condensed milk, just remember that it's a richer taste, but for the condensed milk, there's added sugar already. So it just really kind of affects more the taste of the chocolate, the nama chocolate, than the texture actually. And I prefer not to use condensed milk or butter into my chocolate. But you can. I mean, there's no right or wrong to doing that. And if you add the butter in, it's perfectly fine as well. So I get this really nice palm sugar. For our friends, overseas friends, Gula Melaka, palm sugar is something that we eat quite a lot in Singapore in a lot of our confectionaries. So I've got my cream ready. So what you want is 50 grams altogether, 30 grams of cream, and 20 ml of coconut. So we've got that ready here. And I'm basically just going to add that in with the pot. And then pour it in. I'm gonna let all that melt, my white chocolate. My white chocolate melts really fast, so you can see that. It's already melted. I don't really have to do much. I mean, we're basically making one chocolate every 10 minutes. So that's really fast. So I've got all that ready. Give it a nice quick stir. Just like that. Now the salt balances out that flavor in with the sweetness of the Gula Melaka. So that's pretty important. Okay, I've got that ready.
A few questions for a repeat of the ingredients again. So we have 10 grams of Gula Melaka, and then how many grams of chocolate and cream?
Okay, so we have 35 grams of Gula Melaka here. And then we have 150 grams of white chocolate. And we have 50 grams of cream. Now you want to see how smooth this is. Now if you agitate it more, it's going to split. And this is the point where you can really see that it's nice and smooth, and you don't want to agitate it anymore. So I'm just going to put my cream and my tea bag inside there. So just there, you see that? Okay. Yep. And then I'm just going to switch it on and let it infuse really nicely. Okay. So again, that's really fast. If you want to do a cold infusion, not a problem, but I think it's not an issue to just bring it to a boil, leave the tea bag in there, squeeze all the juice and the essential oils out of that tea. You want flavor, and that's the most important. And in this recipe, we've got 1 tea bag, 150 grams of milk chocolate, and 75 grams of cream. There we go, I got my chocolate ready. The tea is already boiling. Super fast.
Someone's asking about Chinese tea. Does that work for tea infusion as well?
So yes, you can totally use any type of tea bag. You can use Chinese tea as well. Like I said, take everything out of your pantry, see what you have, make double, triple recipes, bless someone by making more chocolates. All you need to do is just get a pack of cream and some chocolate, and three types of ingredients, and you can make Nama chocolate. Fantastic. So that's done. I'm going to show you.
If you have a rule of thumb as to which chocolate you use for which types of flavors. So for example, if we're doing tea, since you can do like milk, dark or white chocolate, is there something that you kind of think of when you're choosing the type of chocolate you're using?
Totally. Choosing your chocolate and ingredient is the most important. Every time when we design a flavor like ginger flower, we use white chocolate. Yuzu, we use white chocolate. Salted caramel, we use milk and dark chocolate, and we mix the chocolate together. We're not afraid to actually put even 3 types of chocolate to make one ganache. You can even do 2 parts of milk chocolate, 1 part of dark chocolate, and then that could also give you really nice flavor into your truffles as well. So for tea, I usually use milk. For coffee, because it's a darker roast and bitter, I use dark chocolate. For green tea, I use white chocolate. And then there's also ruby chocolate, which is pink chocolate, which is this. So kind of like, this is pink chocolate. So there we go. So for pink chocolate, I use like raspberry and also citrus fruit, strawberry notes, and then that's it. Now you can see once the bubble is up, we're going to actually just quickly pour that back in to our chocolate. You're going to want to go around. I can really smell the aromatics of the tea. You can see it's really boiling, super fast and easy. Now that's my good chocolate.
So stirring in one direction, not really being too aggressive about it. It's just a gentle kind of.
That's correct. So I guess not many people have so many spatulas at home. Just use a spoon, and which is what I'm doing right now. And I'm actually gonna dip my truffles with a fork. So again, nothing too fancy today, but you can make things super delicious and fancy. So I've got all my 5 ganaches ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and with my green tea ganache as well, which I've done. And I've got 5 containers, and we're just gonna set it all at the same time together. I'm gonna lay them all out.
We're exactly at 50 minutes. So I think anybody making this at home, you'll be done in like 10 minutes each. That's really fun.
That's really amazing. I mean, I cannot be any prouder of you doing this with me in under an hour. Again, this is all about having fun at home. 3 ingredients that you need. You need your infusion, your ingredient that you want to use. If you want to use even rose syrup, get that. Even from our local market, they do sell rose syrup as well. If you want to make rose ganache, if you want to make coffee, tea, you have all that at home. Anything that you have readily at home, you can do that. So you just kind of want to press that down. Like I said again, if you don't have spatulas, just use a spoon, and you just want to evenly spread it around. Give it a tap, and then set it in the fridge. So we've got that.
Container are you using, would you say?
This is something like a 10 by 10 container. So again, second one, I'm gonna set it right through and in. Okay.
I guess it also depends on how thick you want your chocolates to be, right? Because if you're using a larger pan, then it spreads.
Next, I've got my Milo chocolate. So I'm just gonna quickly set all that in one by one. Now, that's the reason why I do it all at the same time at the end, so that we put it in at the same time. You don't have to run around. You just get everything ready. As you can see, the chocolate didn't set too fast, and that's really easy. That's it. It should set in about 4 hours in the fridge, so that's gonna be quite fast. If you want to cheat a little bit, you can put it in the freezer. I advise you not to. Reason is because now it's all about texture. So you want the chocolate to recrystallize really nicely, so it's smooth and the texture is beautiful in the mouth. So again, set it nice and slow in the fridge. Give it a tap. Very little air bubbles, all very nice, nothing split, and that's what you want. So now we're gonna put all that into the fridge, and I'm gonna show you how it is when it comes out. Okay. Readily available for you, which is like that. Okay. So give it about 2.5 by 2.5. So we'll get show. There we go. That's fine. You see? Okay, great. Okay. So for those who are seeing it, if you can see it, that's it. You want to just flip it around. Again, this is something that you have available at home, so we don't. But and professionally, we do use guitar keys. I'm just gonna cut a few cubes so that we can speed things up a little bit. But you can see that beautiful texture. Do you see that? This is out of the fridge, not the freezer. Okay, so we want to just show the camera this beautiful texture that you got. Okay, that's what you want. You don't want it too hard. If it's too hard, it means you either add too much of the chocolate. You want that soft, because it's supposed to melt in your mouth and give you that beautiful rounded texture that you want. So that's our green tea chocolate. And what we're gonna do now is we're actually going to dust some of these chocolates, and then we're almost done. I was a bit sneaky. What I did was I made a chocolate box of chocolate, and that's actually a really nice presentation. And I'll be showing tempering chocolate right after this. So what I have here is some Milo powder together with cocoa powder. So after you cut your chocolates out of the fridge, now we speed up 4 hours ahead of time and preset all our chocolates and cut them into cubes of 25 by 20, 2.5 by 2.5. So I have some really nice cocoa powder here. In this case, we use a nice light cocoa from Design. And here we have that. You can see, I'm just gonna dust that over. And you wanna make sure that you can actually prick it with a fork and it's nice and stable. Now, in this case, this is the exact texture that you want. If it starts to kind of like roll down and kind of, and you can't pick it up and it's sticky, then the consistency is not really right. Or you want to put it longer in the refrigerator or the freezer. But this is exactly how it should be like. Okay, well, practically, I mean, technically about 3 months you can keep it. That's actually a really nice timing. But I would say always best before is 2 months, best before.
Okay.
For the fridge one, I put a cover over the container. Okay. Definitely I put a cover over it, and sometimes what I do is I put a cling wrap over the ganache so that it's really nice and clean and you can keep it for a long time. So again, you can keep that in your fridge. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be dipping these truffles now, but before I do that, I'm gonna temper chocolate. So this is one of my favorite things to do. We're just taking dark chocolate, a 76% dark chocolate here. Really nice. We're actually going to just heat that up. I brought it up to about 50 degrees. So you want to bring that up to a high temperature. You can bring that up to about 45 to 50, but nothing under. You basically want to go at 50, and that's a really nice temperature. So there we go. Really nice chocolate. Make sure it's nice and smooth and you don't have like little bits inside there. Get one of these. These are really nice and useful. How I hold it is just really like 2 fingers in there and 3 behind here. And again, I don't want to get anything above here. I just always want to keep it really clean up to here, especially when we're tempering our chocolate. And I'm going to show you how to mold the chocolate today as well. So I'm going to show you how to mold our chocolates in our chocolate shell. So what we have here is this, and I need a spatula. The long one. So it's 50 degrees now. You basically want to do this for those who can see it. So you want to do this and you want to bring it down to about 28 degrees, 26, 25, 26, 28 degrees. Again, it really depends on your chocolate and the cacao content of your chocolate and your surrounding as well. Be in a very cold room, it's great. And you can just take any surface. I know not everybody has a marble table at home. That's why we're showing you with an acrylic board today, because like I said, again, not everybody has the right surface to temper chocolate, but there's so many ways of tempering chocolate as well. So what I like to do is just really like spread it out so that it cools down. This rapid cooling, tempering this chocolate only takes about maybe 5 minutes or less than that. So you want to get one of these as well. It's really useful. If you don't have it, don't worry. You can basically maybe just use a knife. That kind of works as well. So I'm just going to keep, again, one side clean, just holding my spatula like this with 3 fingers behind. Okay. So for those on Zoom, you can see it quite clearly. There's another camera going really up close. I just want to work that through and bring it down to a good 25, 26 degrees. And how I check this is I've got this laser thermometer here, and I'm just going to point and check it. Now we can see it's 25.8 degrees. It's almost ready. So I will stop here.
If people watching don't have a laser thermometer, is there anything that you can do to check the temperature?
Yeah, put it under your, you can put it under your lip. That's how we mostly do it. And you can feel that it's a little bit cold and it's not at room temperature. And when you do that, basically you know that that's ready. So again, you can just take that and just kind of put it here. It's cold. I know it's ready, and I need to work really fast with chocolate. So what I have here is just my chocolate here. I'm going to put it back into the bowl. Then I have my bain-marie ready. So my bain-marie is ready with a good hot water. Half of the pot is filled with hot water, and I want to bring that up to about 31 degrees. So I know a lot of people are like super lazy to temper chocolate. You're like, oh my goodness, why do I have to temper chocolate? You can not temper chocolate. You can use baking chocolate. Again, like I said, I don't advise it because it's got hydrogenated fat, and it's not so good. And again, it's not as delicious as this. So definitely you gotta put in a little bit of hard work if you just want to enjoy this.
That's not the best time to do it, right? I mean, when else will you probably try to temper chocolate at home?
Well, now you have so much time staying at home. Definitely, I look forward to seeing all your IG photos for those who temper chocolate at home. So I've got my pot ready, and you can see now basically it's already starting to seize, and you want to be really fast with this. So I'm just going to put that right there and just heat it up. Okay. All right. So again, one trick is if you have this on your spatula, you don't want to put that back inside the bowl. Leave it outside. Let it harden. The reason is because this will cause little bits of lumps in your chocolate, and you don't want that at all. Just leave it outside. Scrape it off later. You can still use it back in your melted chocolate. So now I want my spatula is really, really clean. I'm just going to clean down and just get ready my mold. I'm just going to very quickly show you how we mold our chocolate.
Couple of questions about temperature. So for when you're tempering chocolate, does it matter what temperature you're at if you're doing it for white chocolate or milk chocolate or even ruby chocolate? Is there like a difference?
Definitely. So when you're tempering chocolate, if you're using different types of chocolate, it affects your chocolate. It affects the temperature. So for dark chocolate, you basically want to bring it up to 50 to 55 degrees. For milk and white, you want to bring it to 40 to 45 degrees. And for ruby, you basically also want to take it to about, I think it's about like 38 to like 45 degree range. And then you want to take it down lower. So for white chocolate, you want to take it down lower than dark chocolate. The reason is because there's a lot more fat in there, a lot more cocoa butter in there as well. So you take it down to about 25 degrees, up to even 24 degrees, and you bring it back up to only about 29 to 30 degrees. So it's very different. There's a temperature chart for that as well. Okay, so now I've got this ready. Okay, so you want to see that nice chocolate there, and that's all nicely tempered. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a mold here, and we're actually going to quickly pour that on top of the mold. So if you have one of these, or you have so much time at home now and you want to try this at home, temper your chocolate. Let's quickly pour that all into the mold. Okay. Again, we don't like it too dirty, so keep it really nice and clean. Always have one side clean. So I'm just going to fill all that in to the mold. Now you want to fill it all the way up. Okay, so it's a treat for you guys to see this today. And you want to knock it. So I'm going to keep this side clean. I'm just going to put that really, really well. Now, if I don't have an acrylic and I'm using another surface, what I want to do is just put cling wrap all over my table. Now you hit it to knock all the bubbles out so you don't get holes in your chocolate. And then you basically want to just flip it over. So the harder you knock, the thinner your shells would be. And basically you just want to scrape it down. Now I leave it down to scrape because I basically don't want to have uneven surface. So you can see. Of course, we use a bowl, we use a machine in our factory, but if you don't have that, there you go. Just gonna show you.
And how do you tell if the chocolate has been tempered correctly?
Okay, so you can set that on a piece of paper. Now you can see, let's put it really close. This is tempered chocolate. You see that? So for those on Zoom, you can really see that this is tempered chocolate. For those on IG, I'm just gonna quickly show you what is tempered chocolate. So basically you can already see that it's set. If you're tempering, if you're molding this, and it's still really, really liquid, and it's just not setting, that's definitely not setting. But don't put it in your mold first, it's too late. What you really want is you basically want to ensure that you have your tempered chocolate ready before you mold it in. And if it's already too hard, what you can do is put it back in the bowl, bring up the temperature again to about 30 degrees to 31 degrees, and then you have it tempered still. What I like to do is to leave my tempered chocolate in my microwave, and that really keeps it nice and warm. This is still tempered, so I can just basically heat it up again, make it really nice and smooth, and then just basically, again, having my tempered chocolate ready. So you don't want to throw away anything. But like I said, because it's nice, smooth, and soft, you don't want to put these hot chunks of chocolate into that. And I actually like this with whiskey and Baileys. So I add just that nice flavor of whiskey inside there. I replace it with the amount of cream. So if I have like 75 grams of cream, I will do 50 cream and 20 whiskey. So that's it. Usually I like to enjoy this with a Macallan 12, but it's just beautiful together with dark chocolate, a nice single malt whiskey, or I can enjoy it with Baileys. Baileys, salted caramel, and chocolate. You can never go wrong with that.
That sounds amazing. Okay. I think chocolate and whiskey is a combination that everybody loves, and it's always, something nice to have. I have a couple of questions here about the chocolates, and can we add color to it? So I think previously someone also asked the question, your signature splashes of color that you always put with your chocolates. How do you kind of add like that color to it?
So actually, I was gonna show one of the colored chocolates. So we have this at Bake at Home. I mean, for Bake at Home, we've got basically all different types of chocolate and powders and everything. So we've got like this one here is actually a red powder that I've got, and that's actually a bit of beetroot and also a little bit of safflower in them. But this natural coloring is great for chocolate. What you do is you take some coloring, you add it in with your cacao butter or your white chocolate, and add that in first, and then you melt it. If you have a hand blender, that's the best. It blends really, really well. Now you want to use powder chocolate instead of liquid color, powder color. Make sure you get powdered color when you work with chocolate. It's very, very important because the powdered chocolate is fat soluble. Now you don't want to use liquid ones because it's not fat soluble. So take note of that. Okay, lastly, I'm just gonna take few of my chocolate truffles. I'm just gonna show you how we dip it. Basically, I just take like this, I dump it in there, I turn it. Okay. And then you just want to set it on a piece of paper really well. So there we go. Can everybody see that? I know those on IG, you can see that. It's super, super beautiful. Maybe I'll take the camera right here later, but you can see that it's so nice and shiny. For those of you at Zoom, you can see, you want that nice shine. And it's just, I cannot explain how beautiful it is. I'm just gonna show that right to the camera on our IG. So I'm gonna dip another one in there.
Yeah.
Now with that shine, you know that it's nicely tempered. So again, you want to drip all that chocolate. You don't want to have chocolate everywhere. You just want a nice square. Remove excess chocolate. Now when all the chocolate is removed, you're ready to set it somewhere else. So that it's a beautiful, nice shine. And we know it's tempered and it's perfect. Again, we did super easy Nama chocolates today. 5 flavors, 6 flavors, technically 6 recipes, tempered chocolate, molded chocolate. Again, it's all about chocolate, all about having fun, and I hope you enjoy it with me. And now let's eat chocolate. Thank you guys. Thanks, Nicole.